You're watching episode 70 of Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. And now, here's two guys who would die for a 70 on the front nine, Evan and Joe.
I'm Joe Ticotsky down in New Haven, Connecticut.
And I'm Evan McFarlane here in St. Andrews, where we are actually starting to see signs of spring.
And you're watching episode 70 of Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. That somewhat bemused look on Evan's face can only mean one thing: yet another season-ending playoff loss for his beloved Toronto Maple Leafs. What up with that?
It's golf season. On my calendar every year. Man, I don't know. I don't know what that's. Yeah. I'm only 30. I'm 38. Am I 38? I'm 38. Like, I haven't gone through this as much as a lot of people that I know in the area have. Like, I just don't know what to say anymore. They got some stuff to figure out. The bones are there. We just need to add a little more to it. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know. Look, it's going to be a busy off season.
My Knicks are close. They're at 51. Now that we're officially into some warmer weather, as my yearly homage to David Letterman, I will unbutton the second button on my shirt here because it's getting a little
sunburnt there, aren't you?
Oh, a lot of sunburn. Oh, man. All right. Well, after the break, we'll come back and talk women's pro basketball in the Maritimes. You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV in St. Andrews. Welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. The Maritime Women's Basketball Association, or MWBA, is starting its third season this month. With 4 teams in New Brunswick and 3 in Nova Scotia, the league is certainly trending upward, as evidenced by its record crowd of over 1,200 for last year's final in June at TD Station in St. John. Joining us on the show is league founder and current GM of the Fredericton Freeze, Brad Janes. Brad, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Brad.
No problem.
You're in the two-time club here because you've been on the show twice.
That's right. Repeat offender. Is that okay? That's a good thing, eh?
Yeah, you're in an upper class of people now.
All righty, let's find out about the league. The league is up to 7 teams this season. Who's the new team, and are there plans for more expansion in the future?
The Miramichi Hurricanes are the expansion team this year. We actually, Fredericton and St. John, the Port City Fog, played a preseason game there last year and filled the gymnasium on Miramichi, which isn't surprising considering the city's passion for the game. And lo and behold, they reached out, applied, and were granted a franchise, and they're killing it. Fredericton is up there on Sunday for Miramichi's home opener, and I can guarantee you it's going to be a bit of a gong show in a good way. Looking ahead, like one thing we've tried not to do is become too big too soon, because we're still finding our way on a lot of matters, organizational wise, constitution wise, all of that stuff that's in the background that nobody really cares about, except the league. And we're continuing to improve that. We are the Maritime Women's Basketball Association, so it makes sense to be on Prince Edward Island. And we've had some talks with some representatives on the island. And, there are a number of PEI-based players playing in the league. So it's going to take the right person. It doesn't really present any travel issues because PEI is actually closer than, the Halifax teams to the New Brunswick team. So that's not an issue at all. It's just finding the right group over there. And hopefully that's the news we hear. There's also interest in Pictou, Nova Scotia. But the big thing is we just want to make sure at this point that we, the cart is not ahead of the horse.
Sort of like with our show, we didn't want to get too big too soon.
Exactly. That's right. You don't need that satellite truck outside your place, right?
No. We do not. Evan, what you got?
Yeah, I think that's such a great point, Brad, to really not get ahead of the game. And you can see that the way that women's sports especially are building right now, and there's so many good things happening, but I really like your approach to that. But maybe give us a glimpse of how many games does the team play in the regular season, and what's the current playoff format look like?
Yeah, it's a big change this year. So we used to, and our league came on the heels of COVID's grip on the world, and we came out of that with a tournament style weekend, because that first year in 2022 we weren't sure if we are going to be able to play, so we were going to
Right.
play in the proverbial bubble. So we had all 6 teams in Fredericton that first weekend, and we were lucky it was opened up. And so then the second year, we kept the same type of thing. Like I think it was every 3 weeks, all the teams in the league would gather in one central location, kind of like old home week. But we changed that this year and went to that traditional format of single games, 5 home games, 5 road games. And the playoffs, we had everybody come to one place for the last 2 years for the Legacy Cup. But with 7 teams, the math doesn't work. And we talked about a couple of different things. And then one day it was like Final Four. So it kind of, and I'm not using the Final Four term. I'm not going to get into any
No.
copyright laws there. It's going to be kind of sharp what we do. So the New Brunswick teams will play off the top New Brunswick seed against 4 and 2 versus 3 in a single game playoff the week before championship weekend. And the Nova Scotia teams with 3 will do a similar type format. First gets a bye, second versus third,
Cool.
that type of thing. So there's going to be that. The Tuesday before championship weekend will be single game playoffs. And I think that's going to increase the meaning of the regular season, because you want home court advantage and just that drama of a 1 game showdown to get to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia for the championship weekend.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, tell us briefly about the preseason event the league held in late April at St. Stephen High School.
Yeah, amazing. That was going to be a one-off as well, with Port City and Fredericton playing Sunday afternoon in St. Stephen, and Tom Liston, who is the organizer of or one of the spearhead people behind the world's oldest basketball court in St. Stephen, got wind of it, and he's such a super basketball fan and passionate about the province, and so he reached out to us and just said, why 1 game? And next thing you know, it kind of exploded. So all 4 New Brunswick teams were in St. Stephen last weekend. Some youth teams were down there as well. And we kind of took over the town for a couple of days. We rented out the hotel down there, and the pubs and the restaurants were full of basketball players, fans, coaches, and everything, and really good games on the floor. And the crowds come out. So it was called Battle at the Border. McDonald's jumped on board, and having an international brand like that attach itself to our league is yet another indication that there's interest corporately. But the bottom line was more people were exposed to our brand of play, and I think we delivered.
Absolutely. I've been hearing incredible things too about that. And maybe something, I don't know if you've heard this yet, Brad, but that is the first time that the hotel that you rented has sold out in April in its history.
Oh, guaranteed. Guaranteed. And it was just such a, there was some tailgating going on. I don't mind saying that. Saturday night, the whole thing, and all the players were there, right? So it's not like it's a 58-story hotel and you get lost in the elevators. Everybody was in one spot, and it just kind of, we had actually had a group photo on Sunday of all 4 teams, and
Cool.
And just, I don't know. And the social Saturday night was amazing at the Garcelon Center, Mayor's Social, and it was, I don't mind saying it was pretty emotional, because the women were in the spotlight, and it was their time, and just to see all the people and former teammates and people making new friends, it was a really special weekend.
For sure. And I know, like, I'm not surprised at all, just due to the people that are on board with this project, like yourself. You're so passionate about it. And then you start getting people like Tom Liston, and anyone who knows him knows that he's not going to just kind of go in half-assed on something. But as the founder and current GM, is there anything that's really surprised you so far about the league since it started?
That's a great question. Probably the family environment in terms of fans. Like, we had over 1,200 last year at the final game, and that was fantastic. But from my own franchise, I budget for 0 fans every year. I truly do. Like, my budget going into 2024 under attendance is 0. And I know that's not realistic. I know we're going to get fans. But we have so many parents, children, families coming to our games, and I think the big difference is a lot of fans go watch the University basketball, as they should, because it's the best brand we have, through the winter in this region, and the children look up. We had 3 basketball playing girls; they looked up to all those UNB players, and but now our women are teachers, paramedics. next door neighbors, things like that. So a lot of the younger players know these people from everyday life, and it's such an attachment to them. And then the brand of basketball is quality too. And that didn't really surprise me, but it's kind of like the old, bigger and better thing. Like the first year was great, second year was amazing, and third year I think the teams are so deep this year. That more and more women want to play. So I'm probably a little bit surprised at the family environment and just how good the quality of play is.
All right. Down here in the States where I am, the popularity of women's college basketball has really exploded. People call it the Caitlin Clark effect, and it's starting to spread to the WNBA. Has this interest translated to the Maritimes yet, and do you expect crowds to increase? I know a different population factor up there, but what do you think about that?
I think in Atlantic Canada, basketball, whether women or men, is popular. You look if the Atlantic University Sport Championship in Halifax is if you've never been, go. It's a fantastic event down there for the playoffs, and that city certainly embraces the game. And I'll speak for Fredericton as well. Fredericton has a passionate basketball base. There are so many things to do. And that's from everyday life. Our home opener is Saturday night, and we're up against the Sports Hall of Fame, volleyball tournament, boxing match, lawn darts, who knows? So you have to really decide where am I going to go and spend my entertainment dollars, and we're happy with our crowds. I would love to see regular, consistent, big crowds only for the women that are playing, so they can just revel in that, I guess, to say, wow, there's X amount of people here tonight. This is fantastic. And that's what I would like to see, just a little bit more consistent crowds. But we have to keep working at it. We're babies. We're going into our third year, and so much more to learn, and so much more to really drive a stake, into the communities to say, hey, we're a player here. And I do like the shoulder season of April, May, and June. But I think we're garnering attention, and you come once, you're coming back. That's for sure.
Right. Well, the MWBA, Maritime Women's Basketball Association, started its third season on May 4th and runs through June, with the championship game set for June 23rd. You can find out more about the league by going online to the mwba.ca. Brad Janes is the league founder and GM of the Fredericton Freeze. Brad, thanks so much for coming on the show, and best of luck during season number 3.
Always a pleasure, and I do appreciate the community support that you give us and have given us. So away you go. Good job.
Yeah, no, thank you. We appreciate your time, and I'll continue to support women's sports, especially in the Maritimes. And anything you need, just let us know. But we certainly appreciate this.
Great to hear. Thanks, man.
After the break, we will head out to Newfoundland for yet another interesting edition of Small Town Spotlight. You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. For this episode of Small Town Spotlight, we head to the province of Newfoundland in the gorgeous town of Harbour Grace, which you can see in the background. With a population of 2,796, the town is an hour northwest of the provincial capital in St. John's. Located in Conception Bay on the Avalon Peninsula, Harbour Grace was founded in 1517, making it one of the oldest towns in North America. In the 1920s and 30s, aviation pioneers such as Amelia Earhart made their crossings to Europe from Harbour Grace Airfield. And to tell us more about the town, let's welcome in the mayor of Harbour Grace, Don Coombs. Mayor Coombs, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And how long have you lived in Harbour Grace?
I've lived here all my life, and I was raised up where the SS Kyle went aground back in '67, I think, and I married a girl from Harbour Grace, and love to call it home. It's a great place, our Harbour Grace.
How long have you been mayor?
Pardon?
How long have you been mayor?
27 years, and I've been on council 32. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to.
You started age 16, huh?
Yeah. I wish if I started that young, I might have sent stuff to leave earlier. No, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to serve the citizens of our town.
Now tell us about what you're wearing there as mayor.
Well, the mayors of every city, town, community, and province have what we call a chain of office. And if I could, I'll just lift it up over my shoulders. It shows the town's logo, and it has symbols on it for every mayor that's served in the town has their name on it and the year that they served. So it's I wear it, and we wear it as a municipal leaders in our communities throughout the province at special events. I do it at every meeting, of course, every regular meeting of council, I wear it. And we also at events where the town is as a town awards night or something, I wear it. I wear it and let the kids wear it, the guides and brownies and little groups that come in. I'll let them get a picture taken with it.
Okay, now launched over 110 years ago, tell us a little bit about the ship, the SS Kyle.
The SS Kyle was launched. It was a part of the Alphabet Fleet, if I remember correctly. It took people from Labrador to from the island to Labrador with supplies. It was used in the seal fishery, and it ended up in the hands of the Earls and the Earl Company in Carbonear, which is the town next to us, and they were using it, and they docked it in Harbour Grace because it had some damage done, and in a big storm, and I'm in that end of town where it's at. As I said at the start of this, it ran aground and ended up on a mussel bank in Harbour Grace, and that's where it sits today. It's a very historic thing. Being a young lad with a little boat, when it went aground, we went out aboard of it and climbed up the side, and we looked into it, and it still had its majestic way, and it still had everything aboard. But right now, it's owned by the provincial government. We've had people make proposals to clean it up, to do it up, and to do different things with it, restore it and everything. So that's the hope for one day all parties can make it happen. But in that area of our town, we have the Amelia Earhart statue, we have the plane donated by the Pike family, and we have the SS Kyle that people come and get the pictures done. I don't have statistics, but I think it's one of the most photographed places, and it's a must stop for tourists to come to Harbour Grace to see it. It's just there on the mussel bank, and
that was 1967. It went aground.
I believe it was 67 that it went aground. I'm pretty sure it was, and it was a February storm. And I'll just check February the 4th, 1967. I'm correct. And it went it was a blizzard. It was bad, and it went aground on a mussel bank. And I remember being a young man, we used to go out on that bank and get mussels. And then, of course, because of everything else, that you couldn't get the mussels there anymore. And I remember when our local boy, Danny Cleary, won the Stanley Cup, we hung a banner on it. And we went out and did a lot of pictures of the Stanley Cup because CBC and News World and media from all over the world were here. Danny was the first person to win a Stanley Cup in Newfoundland and Labrador, and he brought it home on Canada Day. So you can imagine what the celebration was like.
Okay, so connecting to that, he played for the Red Wings, and he was from Harbour Grace?
Yeah, he's from up in my end of town, and he's from Harbour Grace, and he bought it home. And being the first Newfoundlander, we said it'd be nice if we could get it on a Canada Day, and his dream of bringing it home came to reality. I think we had a lot of things on the go. My guesstimates were about 35 to 40,000 people there, and with that, he stayed. He shared it with us. We had banquets. We had, as I said, it was media from all over the world. Cabby from TSM was down. CBC News World were broadcasting every day here. There were Swedish. There were people from Sweden there because the Swedes, of course, were high with the Red Wings at the time. So we had a worldwide audience coming to our town, and Danny shared the Stanley Cup with us. And he's at the banquet, and his former coach, late Dick Power, that had him at minor hockey, who was an icon in hockey in Newfoundland as a coach and as a man, got to drink out of the cup first. I sat by Mr. Power, and I drank Screech out of the cup second. So that was a sort of little thing. And Danny shares his time with our town. We have an arena in the town that's named the Danny Cleary Harbour Grace Community Centre. and certainly very proud of him and his accomplishments with Chicago, drafted by Chicago, went to Edmonton, then ended up with the Red Wings and found a niche that everybody in Newfoundland and Labrador watched the game. We had the premier time come out and watch the games in our town. The premier Danny Williams spent time with us.
Great. Now, what did you say you drank out of the cup?
Newfoundland Screech. I don't like it.
Well,
Yeah,
inform us. Inform the audience.
It's a dark rum. It's not nice, but we give it to tourists because when tourists come into our town the first time coming to Newfoundland, no matter what part they go to, they have to be screeched in. So they have the kiss a cod, they have the eat bologna, which is, everybody knows what bologna is. Kissing the cod is not nice, and they have to do some Newfie recitals that I can't even know the words to. And at the end of it, they have to drink the screech straight. So part of Newfoundland tradition was we drank screech out of the Stanley Cup that night, and he shared it with us in a group, and we had a lot of people in from the mainland, and the mainland being outside Newfoundland, and they all got screeched in also that night. So it's part of our tradition.
I like it. All right. Also, you mentioned briefly about Amelia Earhart. Tell us about her connection to Harbour Grace.
Amelia will always be a part of our community. She was the first female transatlantic flight across, the first female, but her story and the story of her in Harbour Grace, she landed in Harbour Grace. She stayed at the local hotel, and she stayed there and got drove in, and the lady at the hotel is still operating. Any visitors come to Newfoundland, you want to see where Amelia stayed, the hotel is still there. Her pictures are up in the lobby, and she made a thermos of soup for her to take her across on her flight. She's a part of our history. I coached soccer, as I said, for a long time, and I coached girls and boys, and my girls' teams were called the Earharts.
Ah, I like that. I like that.
And it was to celebrate her life and the life that she had, and but in the last few months, the media has reported that they may have found a plane, but her legacy goes on, and each year we honor her on the anniversary. We go up and we set up a little thing with Derry, Ireland, and we have a chat, and we do things to honor her in our community, and certainly a legacy in aviation in the world.
Yeah. All right. Before I let you go, one other on a lighthearted note. What's the deal with the 30-minute time difference in Newfoundland? I'm from the States, and just so our viewers know, you'll always hear this show is on 7:00 Eastern time, 8:00 Atlantic, 8:30 Newfoundland. Why the half hour?
We want to be ahead of everybody else. We're leaders in the country. When it comes to January the 1st and New Year's Day, we're well ahead of everybody else. It's a part of history in it. It's good. You got to get here. We're an island in the ocean. So for viewers out there, we're an island in the ocean, and you got to get here by boat, or you got to get here by plane. And so that half hour difference is something unique and something I'm proud of. I like it when, we spoke this morning, the half hour difference, and it's just part of the culture of the province, and I hope it's never changed. I hope it never changes. It makes us unique as a people. People think we're unique anyway, but it makes us unique, and I love it. I love being that half hour.
I like it. And I'll give you one other little idea for the SS Kyle. If you were down in the States, they would have already turned that into like an outlet mall or something like that by now. They would have commercialized it all.
Yeah, we've had some great suggestions come on it, and we had people who want to build restaurants on it. We had people who want to do whatever, but as I said, it's owned by the provincial government. So we have an individual now that's prepared, and they flew in from London, Ontario to meet me a number of years back, and they want to do something with it, but is to get it straight away with the provincial government too. And if you're in the province, the Kyle, Amelia Earhart, the airfield, it's a must see, and we encourage you to come to Harbour Grace. And if the council office chambers are on Water Street, which is just straight down the road by the plane and by the Kyle, come in and tell them Don I asked you to drop by, and I'll come see them all, and welcome to Harbour Grace.
There you go. Well, he is Don Coombs, mayor of Harbour Grace, Newfoundland since the late 90s. Don, thanks so much for coming on the show and telling us about your gorgeous little corner of the world.
And if you're ever here, we got a place called the Old Courthouse you want a place to eat, it's the actual courthouse. You can go there. It opened last year. It's the best food in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's a must-see. And you and your partner or you and your group can sit in a jail cell, the real jail cell, with the door locked and have your supper. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Welcome. Have a great day.
And we're back. And Joe, Connecticut Sun WNBA t-shirt going on there, right? Hey.
You're correct. And since the season just started, I figured I'd show some support for the home squad. They just opened their season at home against Caitlin Clark, and upper deck seats were going for $125. Crazy.
Love it.
Crazy. Sort of like an SJDA game.
Yeah, we're going to put the prices up this year, I think.
There you go.
Fly in demand, baby.
Well, that is it for episode 70 of Mc&T Sports Report. I'm Joe in New Haven.
I've been here in St. Andrews.
Thanks to Patrick Watt and Florence Mitchell for producing and editing a show that's gotten more downloads than the new Taylor Swift album. By the way, lots of F-bombs in there. Take it down a notch, Swift. This is Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO in St. Andrews.